Hello and welcome to another edition of Out of the Blue. I'm Mike Browning. We're coming to you from the Mass Communication Building on the MTSU campus. For a second straight year, MTSU students from the College of Mass Communication played a key role in helping make Nashville's Capitol Street Party a big success. MTSU's partnership with Capitol Records seems here to stay, thanks to faculty and students who are putting the skills of live production television into practice in the Music City. When headliner Luke Bryan hit the stage on Lower Broadway before a street-filled crowd of 20,000, MTSU students were helping produce the Capitol Street Party for a second straight year.
What we're doing here tonight is, as far as I know, completely unique. I mean, imagine our students are going to graduate with portfolio materials that are professional quality.
Take it. Ready to? Take it.
The unique hands-on learning environment is a product of a top-quality mass communication program, proximity to Nashville entertainment, and the investment in state-of-the-art equipment.
So the students are using equipment that's being used by professionals in the world. So what we're trying to do, as soon as they graduate from here, they're coming away with real-world skills with real-world equipment.
MTSU's $1.4 million mobile production lab is also used to cover sports and other events, but it first premiered at last year's Capitol Street Party with great success.
So we've come with 53 students in our new production lab, mobile production lab.
Our crew is huge. I think we've got like 50 people or something.
And we're coming with 8 cameras, shooting in 1080i, 16:9 high def.
Ready 6, take it. Ready 2, take it. Ready 7, take it. Ready 6, take it. Ready 2, take it.
Senior Zach Eagles wants to be right where he is on this night, doing live concerts and live events.
The learning happens when it's real, and the pressure that's real, again, you can't duplicate it in the classroom.
Corbin, just like that. That was perfect.
That feeling you get in the pit of your stomach when they say it's on and it's going to ESPN or we're recording live.
Ready 7, take it.
The truck pulls in and it's all buttoned up. We open up the truck, we run the cabling. We've got 8 cameras going. We have 2 handhelds, 3 stationary platform cameras. We've got 1 on the roof for overall crowd shot.
A lot of other people don't get to do what we're doing right now. So this is perfect for everybody who is a part of this. If you mess up, it's on you. So you have to make sure that everything that you have learned in the past, you have to keep that in the back of your head.
We learn how to do it from how the big boys do it. I mean, we learn how they do it, and we try and mimic that as much as we can. And I mean, it's a lot easier to try and mimic what they do with a $1.4 million truck.
Ready 2, take it.
This is great. It's terrific that they can come in and they can literally put this on their spoken or written resume, and we know right away what they've done.
Ready 7, take it.
By the time they graduate, they have portfolio material that's really professional quality.
And Music Row has live production professionals ready to work backstage for those on the big stage. MTSU's College of Mass Communication is the 5th largest in the nation, and the electronic media production team recently finished in the top 5 in the nation in a collegiate sports production competition. MTSU has once again been named among the top military-friendly schools in the nation. The 2013 list was announced by GI Jobs magazine. The list recognizes the top 15% of colleges, universities, and trade schools in America that are doing the most to embrace those who have served America's military. In the fall of 2012, MTSU became the first Tennessee university with a vet success representative on campus. MTSU is currently more than 1,000 students, including dependents, using GI benefits. For more information on MTSU services for veteran students, visit www.mtsu.edu/military. MTSU embarked on a 6-city tour across the state during October. The goal, recruit some of the best and brightest in Tennessee. The True Blue Tour made stops in Johnson City, Knoxville, Chattanooga, Nashville, Jackson, Memphis, and Murfreesboro. MTSU President Sidney McPhee and the Vice President for Student Affairs joined the tour with college deans and admissions counselors. To learn more about admissions to MTSU, visit www.mtsu.edu/admissions. An update now on MTSU's new $147 million science building. In mid-October, the first beams for the more than 250,000 square feet building were erected. New York-based Turner Construction continues to make progress toward an expected spring 2015 completion date. This is a rendering of what the new science building will look like when it's added next to Walker Library. Since 1960, MTSU's Alumni Association has recognized outstanding alumni for their accomplishments. This year's Distinguished Alumni Award for Professional Achievement goes to the late Dr. Larry Needham, class of 1968. Needham was a renowned chemist who spent 34 years working for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta. Dina Metter, 2004, seen on the left, received the Young Alumni Achievement Award. And Maria Salas, 1985, to the right, received the Distinguished Alumni Award for service to the community. Metter, an interdisciplinary studies major, is coordinating two multi-million-dollar grant-funded research projects on children for Vanderbilt's Peabody Research Institute. Salas, a public relations major, went on to get a law degree and devotes considerable time to community service for Nashville Cares and the Human Rights Campaign. A high honor for an MTSU alumnus, former U.S. Congressman Bart Gordon was recently honored with the designation of Officer in the French Legion of Honor. It is France's highest distinction and one of the most coveted in the world. France recognized Gordon for his nearly 30 years of public service, including his focus on innovation, science, and technology. Napoleon Bonaparte created the Legion of Honor in 1802 to, quote, reward extraordinary accomplishments and outstanding services rendered to France. Here's a group to be proud of, MTSU's newest top scholars. 20 freshmen were recently inaugurated as the newest Buchanan Fellows in MTSU's Honors College. University Honors College Dean Dr. John Weil says the new class, the 6th, is as strong and diverse as any. 12 of the 20 Buchanan scholars are from Rutherford County. MTSU alumna and Fulbright scholar Caitlin Howe, seen in this photo, recently returned to campus. Howe conducted German research on cardiac arrest patients who received CPR. Her study challenged previous notions of poor outcome predictors. She continues to work with her German research team on scholarly publications. Well, the public was recently invited to see and hear the MTSU Dairy in action, as well as the rest of the MTSU Farm. The annual field day showcases the MTSU Experimental Learning and Research Center. Graduate student Susan Nojas talked to Dr. Warren Gill, Director of MTSU Agribusiness and Agriscience.
We started having these field days 5 years ago. This is the 5th, and it's grown. The first year we had maybe 100, 125 people, and last year we had 500 people that showed up to see the grand opening of our new dairy. It's really a community event. What you'll see in several places is students actively involved in the farming operation. An important part of what we do is a lot of what we focus on is the dairy, because the dairy is the crown jewel. It's up here on top of the hill with this beautiful scenery around us. We're the only university in the state now that has a working dairy close to campus where the students actually process the milk for students to drink. We have the best chocolate milk that I have ever tasted in my life, and the students just love it. What this has done is create a very positive feeling in not only in the community but across the state. So therefore we have grown, even though the university itself is not growing quite as fast as it once was. We set a new record for enrollment in ag. We're at 538, and that's up almost 70% from just 5 years ago.
A few journalism notes to pass along for you. In mid-October, university officials and media executives announced that MTSU's College of Mass Communication will house Tennessee's new Journalism Hall of Fame. The hall will recognize career excellence in all facets of media. The first inductees will be announced in April 2013. And one other journalism note. MTSU students tested their skills by covering this year's Associated Press Media Editors National Conference in Nashville. Becca Andrews, editor-in-chief for Sidelines, and Michelle Potts, news director of MT10 HD, the student-run TV station, directed the coverage. The two have collaborated across media platforms, previously via MTSU Center for Innovation in Media. Well, 100 years ago, the area around Walnut Grove was sold to the Tennessee Board of Education to become the original campus of Middle Tennessee State Normal School. Well, now markers identify the area as Harrison Black Circle for Tom Harrison and Joe Black, landowners who sold 20 acres and later donated 80 additional acres. MTSU School of Music has been recognized as an all-Steinway school for the 10th straight year. MTSU purchased 57 of the renowned instruments in 2002, becoming the first all-Steinway school in Tennessee. 3 more Steinways have since been added. MTSU's all-Steinway status puts it in the company of an elite group of music educators around the world.
There may not be our kinds of peoples. We got a kind, so just forget it. Dios mío, me vuelves loca, niña. You are just like your father. Thank you. No!
I am True Blue.
As a member
of this diverse community,
I am a valuable contributor
to its progress and success.
I am engaged in the life of this community.
I am a recipient
and a giver.
I am a listener
and a speaker.
I am honest in word and deed.
I am committed to reason, not violence.
I am a learner.
Now and forever.
I am a Blue Raider.
I am a Blue Raider.
I'm a Blue Raider.
True Blue.
Being True Blue is helping others to reach their potential. My name is Daryl Freeman, and I am True Blue.
This is not just a recording studio.
This is not just a flight school.
This is not just a university.
This is MTSU, home of Tennessee's best.
Marlin.
I call. Don't know how you guys do it at your place, but MT is tobacco free.
And now for our cover story. The art and craft of storytelling is as old as the folktale, but like most arts, it too has been professionalized. Those who practice the modern craft of storytelling, whether the Appalachian brand, librarians, or effective speakers, have discovered stories as the best way to connect with audiences. Stories paint a descriptive picture we remember. They help us to relate to common experiences. A Tennessee town realized the power of storytelling 40 years ago, and it hasn't been the same since.
The story takes place in 1978 because that's when Jonesboro was a seesaw.
For 40 years, Jonesboro, Tennessee has hosted the National Storytelling Festival in the foothills of the Appalachians, a gathering place for renowned storytellers like J. O'Callahan.
And they keep saying in the 60s, this town was dying. This town was dying.
Who this year was commissioned by the town of Jonesboro and the International Storytelling Center to tell the story of the festival's beginnings.
The story is called Main Street, Jonesboro.
Back in the 50s, 60s, and early 70s, Jonesboro was literally a dying southern town.
Then I talked to Jimmy Neal Smith, who began this festival, Jonesboro boy, and Jimmy Neal tells me his dad, when Jimmy Neal was 10, drove him out to his grandfather's farm. And there's nobody on Main Street, and the boy says to himself, This town is dead. The buildings look like tombstones. And I realized that's what the story's about. Why do some towns live and some towns die?
What the city leadership did was to say, we want to revitalize Jonesboro, but not in the urban renewal way. We want to restore our old town and build our future upon our past.
Grandmother said, I love the brick buildings down there, different shapes, different heights. We're very proud of the courthouse. And there was the town hall with that beautiful round clock. Then she turned and two of the old brick buildings were not only closed, broken windows. Like Jonesboro, what happened to wonderful Jonesboro, grandmother? What happened was we were Rip Van Winkle. We fell asleep.
Jimmy Neal Smith recalls those days teaching high school journalism to his students.
Well, we were driving along and listening to the radio, and on the radio was a storyteller by the name of Jerry Clower. At his height of his career in the 70s, we were listening on the radio, and we were laughing and nudging each other and just having a great time. And I turned to the students just at that moment and I said, wouldn't it be nice if we could bring storytellers like Clower to Jonesboro to tell tales together?
At home, she asked her grandmother about Storytelling Festival. Oh yes, Dad, it started, 5 years ago, 1973, with just 50 or 60 people.
We rolled an old wagon up in the shadow of the courthouse, and around that wagon we told stories.
Today, the festival attracts thousands who gather inside carnival tents on the town square.
So I played with those buttons for a while?
To be captivated and entertained by the best in the business.
I was 6 years old and had been to school for the first day, first grade. Got home that night and my mother looked at me and she said, well, you've been to school one whole day. What have you learned? I said, there's a little boy in my room named Johnny Duncan. His daddy's been drunk 4 days.
Theseus is a Greek word. It means forgetful. Yeah, I can see some of y'all speak Greek, don't you? That's why you're looking at me like that, because you know I just made that up. All right, here's the truth. Theseus was a great hero to the ancient Greeks.
Barbara McBride Smith mixes her own colorful brand of Greek mythology and Texas country to connect with audiences around the world.
The daddy looked over at his wife and he said, Hon, this boy's got a few cogs without a matching ratchet.
Barbara McBride Smith is just amazing.
A relative newcomer to the storytelling profession, MTSU alumna Christy Underdown Dubois grew up in East Tennessee theater before studying journalism, English, and library science.
We drove on the interstate for a few hours, and then we blasted through the borders to the soundtracks of Rush and Strange Brew.
Dubois recently competed in the Jonesboro Festival's Story Slam.
It's competitive storytelling. You have a very specific amount of time. You have a very specific theme that your story is supposed to relate to.
Oh, and then we also picked up a few things that are illegal in our country, namely Cuban cigars.
Most professional storytellers fit into a specific genre.
Right now I mostly tell for children, and I mostly do folk tales and fairy tales and mythology.
Investigation. So I said to my mother, hey Ma, I'm gonna go check it out. Ni te muevas, do not move. I didn't do nothing.
The voices of culture are wide-ranging, from Carmen Diddy's blend of Cuban and South Georgia upbringing.
She said, we don't know those peoples. How many of you remember that? We don't know those peoples. Well, maybe they're very nice peoples. There may not be our kinds of peoples. We got a kind, so just forget it. Dios mío, me vuelves loca, niña.
To Alton Chung's more somber historical stories collected from his Japanese roots on the Hawaiian Islands.
9,486 Purple Hearts. The 100th Battalion, 442nd Regimental Combat Team is the most highly decorated unit in U.S. military history. Those all-volunteer Japanese-American fighting combat unit. This story is about honor. I realized that the story of the 100th Battalion, 442nd stories are not being told. When those German boys got down on their knees, I wanted to go up there and punch them in their face. I mean, how dare they say prayers over the body of my brother? Maybe they're the ones who helped kill him, huh? Been thinking about that all these years. And now I realize that we're saying, our Father. Not my Father. Not American Father, not German Father, not Japanese Father, but our Father.
Over the years, this movement has grown, beginning here in this tiny southern town. It's grown across the United States and, in fact, across the world.
Afternoon, Hope had tea and then started down to Main Street, and it was a river again. Jonesboro was a river of people coming to the Storytelling Festival. She was excited. Maybe it's coming alive.
The National Storytelling Festival is held every year in historic Jonesboro, Tennessee on the first weekend in October. For more information, visit the National Storytelling Center website at www.storytellingcenter.net or the National Storytelling Network at www.storynet.org.
The key issue here is how do they handle that pressure? How do they manage their anxiety? There's going to be some anxiety because anxiety is about threat.
Being True Blue is doing more than what's expected. My name is Ben Jones, and I am True Blue.
We started in 1911 with a clear mission to train Tennessee's best teachers. For the last 100 years, Middle Tennessee State University has carried out that mission and so much more. Nationally recognized as an affordable quality university, the #1 choice of undergraduates in Tennessee. As we celebrate our centennial, we look with pride at the past. We look forward to the future. Check out why we're Tennessee's best.
Being True Blue is working to enhance our community. My name is Kobe Sherlock, and I am True Blue.
Being True Blue is giving your all on and off the court. My name is Ebony Rowe, and I am True Blue.
Being True Blue is embracing unique perspectives. My name is Iris Montez, and I am True Blue.
Being True Blue is helping students solve real-world problems. My name is Cliff Ricketts, and I am True Blue.
Being True Blue is making the world a safer place. My name is Sam Willie, and I am True Blue.
The Blue Raider football team headed into November with a 5-3 record following impressive wins over Georgia Tech, Memphis, and North Texas, and losses to Louisiana Monroe and highly ranked Mississippi State. The Blue Raiders displayed offensive firepower in the 38-21 victory over North Texas, amassing 448 total yards. Quarterback Logan Kilgore threw for 349 yards, including touchdown passes to Anthony Amos and Kyle Griswold. Well, in Middle Tennessee's 49-28 thumping of Georgia Tech, Benny Cunningham rushed for 217 yards and 5 touchdowns.
I feel like the coaches did a good week of pushing us, a lot of full pads to have the O-line play more physical, and I feel like it all just showed.
Cunningham was leading the Sun Belt Conference with 600 total yards and 11 touchdowns when he was lost for the season with a knee injury in the victory over Florida International. Well, did you know that athletes, including Blue Raiders, use psychologists to help them improve performance? Dr. Mark Anschel, professor of exercise science and an expert on sports psychology at MTSU, has been helping athletes achieve the edge they need to perform at high levels for years. This winning psychology could not be more important than for one of the loneliest and celebrated positions on the gridiron, field goal kickers.
My research specializes in two areas. Really, one is coping with stress in sport. Stress is really inherent in sport as it is in life, and your better athletes cope with it more successfully than your poorer athletes. Older athletes cope better than younger athletes. The other area of expertise is exercise psychology, and I have created a model that promotes adherence to healthy habits. One of the things we don't do very well is maintain good health because of our sedentary lifestyle and overeating. So I've developed a model to work with people to maintain changes in their health behaviors and to maintain those changes. My book is Sports Psychology from Theory to Practice, and I wrote the book, now it's 5th edition, but I wrote it back in 1990 initially because I was observing coaches and athletes not using any of this vast sports psychology material. Well, field goal kickers have the unique responsibility of almost dictating success and failure of the whole team. So there's a lot of pressure on a field goal kicker. The key issue here is how do they handle that pressure? How do they manage their anxiety? There's going to be some anxiety because anxiety is about threat. It's about worry. What are they worried about? Well, what if they miss? How will it be interpreted? How will they contribute to the team's failure? How will they fail to meet expectations of spectators and teammates and coaches? So there's a lot of pressure on them. Your better field goal kickers handle that by, number one, having confidence, anticipating success, and developing pre-kick routines that they bring from practice to the game that gives them a sense of arousal, confidence, and challenge that they often meet successfully. And there's no question that these kickers have high confidence and only think about successful outcomes. Now, what happens when they actually miss a field goal? The bottom line here is that they take responsibility for the miss. They're very good about that, but they view it as a challenge to make it the next time. They tend not to view themselves as poor players, poor performers, because they've missed a single field goal. There's a whole body of literature on coping skills and what's called, to use the literature terms, attributions. To what extent do people attribute or explain the causes of their performance, both success and failure, and be able to have motivational outcomes from those explanations. So if I explain the cause of a missed field goal as due to bad luck, I'll still maintain my motivation, high self-esteem, and confidence than if I view the cause of the failure to poor ability. When an athlete makes a low ability explanation for their poor performance, they're on their way out. So the good quality of the place kicker in terms of explaining outcomes due to, let's say, bad luck or a difficult task, but not to low ability, is something we can learn from.
For more information on MTSU News, be sure to go to mtsunews.com. That's it for this edition of Out of the Blue. Until next time, stay true blue.